Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special Codex presentation. My name is Tim. This guy over here is Sal, the slab guy. Down in that corner right there is Wes, Rebel Scum. And our special guest tonight is Mike from Lunch Money Comics right here on YouTube. Mike, how you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited.
Thanks for coming.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for
Absolutely.
joining us.
Yeah,
Welcome.
this has been in the works for a little while now, and we finally got him to get to sit down with us, and we're going to have nothing but an awesome conversation for the next hour or so, and maybe even check out a couple of books too. I think, Sal, you have a tiny stack that you want to show.
Good. If time allows it.
There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, let's get the business out of the way. Don't forget to check us out on all the socials. All you got to do is type in at the Codex Station, and that is where we will be, your favorite social media platforms, and where we live stream all week long. Once again, at the Codex Station, and also head over to thecodexstation.com for all your Codex needs. Get some merch, meet the team, and so much more. Once again, thecodexstation.com. Mike, I'm going to get to you last. Save the best for last. So, Sal, let everybody know where they can find you before when you're not doing Codex stuff.
All right. When I'm not doing Codex stuff, you can always find me on my own channel on YouTube at Sal's Comic Corner, and I'm also on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77.
There we go. And Wes, when you're not on boots on the ground episodes, what do you do?
That's it. That's what that's what I do for you guys, right?
That's all he does. He doesn't need an introduction. He's good.
My claim to fame is this right here.
There you go.
No,
so
that's it.
Wes,
that's all I do. Yeah.
Wes never leaves Codex.
That's right.
But Mike, you have your own YouTube channel, so please let everybody know who you are, what that is, and where they can find you.
Sure. So you can find me on YouTube under Lunch Money Comics. Also, I'm on Instagram on Lunch Money Comics IG. Mostly on IG, I post little kind of sneak previews of some of the books I pick up every once in a while and promote the new videos. But primarily, I'm a YouTuber. Find me on my channel, Lunch Money Comics.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And we will be putting that up at the end of the episode too, so that way you can write it down if you missed it just now. So let's dive right into this, Mike. The question I think needs to be asked first is, how did you start doing Lunch Money Comics? Please tell us a story. Let us know.
The channel?
Yeah, everything all together.
Well, everything. Sure. Well, I started collecting when I was a little kid. Someone gave me a box of comics when I was like 8. Mostly DC stuff, weird horror stuff. Wasn't really into it until, kind of early 90s. I got really into Marvel because of the trading cards, and I had a couple friends that were into it. And I collected through most of the 90s comic boom. I was a huge X-Men Marvel fan. And I never really stopped collecting, but I definitely was, slowed down, picked up again in college. You know how it goes, ebbs and flows.
Oh, yeah.
But primarily, I collect lots of things. So over the years, I'm an antique collector. I collect, natural history specimens, rocks, gems, minerals, fossils, meteorites, old books, quack medical devices. I fix up old taxidermy. You name it, I do it. And I happen to live in one of the most historic parts of New England. All of New England is. And,
I'm writing this down for later. Medical devices. I need
all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah, I'm a musician. If you guys can see the rest of this room, you said the comic side. This is a mess. So yeah, I've always gone to antique type places. I've always gone to flea markets. There's tons of them in New England. My wife is really into antiques, so I always collect other weird things, always. But my first love was comic books. It was kind of like my guilty pleasure. Whenever I was at yard sales and flea markets, I would find comic books, and I always collected cheap because I grew up as a poor kid. Never had a lot of money. Always collected cans for extra change. Used my lunch money to buy comic books. Yeah, that's where the name comes from. I would just starve myself for a week at school, barely eat any food, eat a cookie for lunch and get enough to get a couple comic books at the end of the week. So, I was getting older, had some disposable income, but I still largely kept that sentiment, collecting cheap. But then over the whole pandemic thing, when all the collectibles kind of went up, you're home for a while, you're not doing much stuff. I decided to get rid of a lot of my older stuff. So I started going through a lot of my old collectibles, collectible card games, seeing if I could sell stuff. But the one thing I could not let go, of course, my comics. I was still reading them. I still love them. But the one thing I did notice was as comic prices kind of increased, I was finding more of them at flea markets. I don't know if I was just more cognizant of them, but I kept finding great ones for years. And then finally, it was just last year, after a summer of finding just like awesome books at flea markets, on a hunch, I just said, you know what? I think more people collect comic books like me, really cheap, not really big expensive books, and I think it's interesting how I finding them cheap. I made for as a gaff kind of just like I made a couple videos just to see if I could do it, if I could do a video quick, edit them fast. I went to a couple local antique stores, found some comic books, edited them up, and then I said, yeah, this might work. Who cares? No one's gonna watch this. So I threw them up. I made a logo. My son was in them. My wife was like, I don't want Jack, on the internet. I'm like, no one's gonna watch this. It's fine. They'll get like people watching it. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my friends. Didn't tell my family at all. And then a week and a half in, fourth video, I don't know what happened, broke the algorithm, whatever. Just people started watching, and then it was like, oh, I'm doing this now for real. And then it just kept going, and now here I am a year later.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mike. I mean, I always had comic books. I never stopped collecting, but I never had bigger books. So it's been an amazing year, honestly. Meeting people like you guys. It's just the community. I've never been a part of the community. It was always a closeted thing. I didn't have anyone to talk to about comic books. It was my guilty little pleasure. Now I have thousands of friends I get to talk to all the time, and it's been transformative.
Well, and that's funny how we met is because it was through Jeff Comic Spot.
Yeah.
I was actually watching.
Like,
I've been a subscriber to your channel since you had like, I don't know, 800, and I mean, so what, a month ago. I don't see. So if anybody watching this, you just hit a huge milestone, 10,000. And I was actually looking yesterday or today. So in 8 days, you've gained another 200 on top of that. So well, you're doing something right, Mike. That's for sure.
I don't know what I wish people ask me all the time. I wish I could bottle it.
I think I know. I have no idea. I think I know, and I'll touch on that here in a while. I think I know what it is, but yeah, like Tim and I, we met through comic book exchange, a Facebook marketplace comic book trade.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I met Jeff from Comic Spa basically by emailing him from watching one of your videos.
It was the one where you showed the entire process of what
you remember
did.
where he's filming at his own house and showing his stuff. And he's sending you, you probably don't remember. Yeah. But anyways, you have a video. Mike, you have a video out there where you have a guy. No, but anyway, so that's how we got in touch with Jeff. And Jeff and I talk on the phone from time to time. And great dude. We send him books now, of course. Now he's gotten such a big deal. Now it like takes forever. But that's fine because it's worth it. It's worth the wait with his stuff.
Yeah. That's my fault. I feel bad about it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like
people ask me all the time, like it's like a 40-week wait list. The poor guy.
Yeah. I know, but that's
it's funny too. Meeting Jeff was sort of like, meeting Jeff even was like a random thing. I found a really cool comic book at a flea market, and I went to my local comic book store. I remember seeing that card he had. And I walked in a random day and I said, hey, what was the name of that guy? Because I figured he could use a clean and a press. He's like, he just walked out the door. And I ran outside and he was there. I'm like, hey, I'm Mike. I introduced myself. This is before I started my channel, And long story short, I mean, I see him all the time. He lives, a town away from me. He does my books all the time. I talk with him constantly. Other guys I've done these, live streams with. I did, the Absolute Game of Nerds guys. I'm on like constantly, just like all the time, talking to them. They're like best friends, Brandon from Mon Comics. It's incredible, honestly. And as like a middle-aged dad, I have friends, but like you talk every once in a while, you catch up when you can every couple of months. Not the comic community, man. It's all the time, and I love it. I don't miss. I mean, it's fantastic. I have 100 new friends.
Well,
everyone's like-minded. Everyone's great. It's magical.
Wes,
really
Wes, what did you say to me when we met the first time? You were like, I got friends, but none of them I can talk to about.
That's exactly right. I work in the people that I work around are all.
Don't say too much. It is.
Yeah.
It's classified.
That's right.
They're former military and former police. Those guys are all alpha male guys. They just simply don't really care about nerd stuff. Most of them. Now there's some, but they're very few. So, you really don't relate in that part of my life. I don't really relate to them. Other parts I do, but not that part. So it was quite refreshing whenever, I reached out to Tim. It was just something he had on, marketplace, and then all of a sudden we just started chatting. I'm like, this is great. I'm all right. So I can be me. No, but it's really cool. But you're right. The comic community is it's unlike any other, for sure. For sure.
So you have to check out
I was shocked, honestly.
yeah, you have to check out the Facebook page that we all met on. That this whole Codex team. It's called Comic Character of the Day, and it's a great group of people. Like you said, they just love to talk about comics. We post a question of the day, a character of the day, and
I guess
random panels of the day.
It's just
go ahead.
Yeah, I like that sort of stuff. I don't have a Facebook presence. I got to make a Facebook page for myself. Actually, someone stole it. Someone a few months ago started a Lunch Money Comics page, like pretending to be me. So I got to make a new one.
That's what fame brings you, big guy.
Evidently. But yeah, my biggest surprise, I guess, in knowing I've been a lot part of nerdy communities and games and stuff, all things I've collected, and there's always you meet some people that kind of rub you the wrong way. You don't feel like you completely connect with them. I haven't really met anybody in the comic community that's like that at all. Honestly, I'm sure there's some bad apples out there, but I haven't met one. Every single person I've talked to is like I've been friends with forever. It's so comfortable and effortless to talk because you have that common ground. But I feel like we're all kind of normal people in general. We just are kids at heart, but we
have hearts too, ladies and gentlemen. We have hearts too.
Right.
I have definitely encountered that as well, for sure. So I have encountered some not so much, but mostly you're right.
So Mike, let's go into it a minute. What was the first comic that you read, or moreover, what was the comic that opened the door, so to speak?
Wow. That is a hard question. So like I said, when I was like 8, a family friend gave me a box of comics, and it was mostly DC, and most of those were Flash. When I liked the Flash, I thought the Flash was pretty awesome. There was some cool, it was like Bronze Age Batman in there. It was pretty cool. Firestorm #1. I had lots of like Boris Karloff, like horror stuff, which is a little bit scary for me as a little kid. But there were a couple Marvel books. There was a couple Spider-Mans and an X-Men from like the early 80s. And I can't believe I'm a huge X-Men fan, and I can't remember what that book was, honestly, because I have so many of them now. But there was nothing there that really spoke to me. I just like looking at the covers, and again, I was a kid. But for me, the books that really did it was the X-Men books, like the Jim Lee run plus the cartoon, all sort of like really got me into it in terms of comic books. But actually, the cards were my first introduction to Marvel. So they had those trading cards that came out in the early 90s.
Yep, the Impel stuff. Yeah,
the Impel, right? So the story there is I used to live next to a playground over there. I lived there pretty much, right? And this random kid I'd never met before just sort of inserted himself with me and my friends. Never seen this kid before in my life. Didn't go to school with him, and he was kind of like wouldn't leave us alone, and everyone else kind of left away. This guy was, kid was kind of clinging on, and I found out that he told me he was moving. This is his last day in the town, whatever he was. But he wanted to hang out just for that day because he just didn't want to be home. I was like, all right, it's the least I can do. We went to the local sports card store, and he bought a pack of the Marvel Series 2 cards looking for a hologram. He's an older kid. He's a couple years older than me. Opened the pack, no hologram. Here you go, kid. Gave me the rest of the pack. And I was like, what is this? They have stats on the back. And I recognized a couple of the X-Men from the books I had. So I was like, that was it. And then I started collecting the cards. You learn the characters. I'm like, oh, that's who it is. And then especially the X-Men, man, like it's hard to just jump into Chris Claremont or on X-Men and know what the heck's going on. So I need to know the background. That's why Nightcrawler's blue. I get what he is now. Right? He's not a demon. He's a mutant. I get it. Oh, Wolverine. I get the claws. I didn't understand that before the cards. So then I went way down the rabbit hole of the X-Men books, mostly, and Spider-Man.
Right on. Okay.
So I don't know if there's any one book that got
I remember digging through all those packs and buying packs looking for the holograms, and then another set was like the ones you could see through. I can't remember what set that was from, and all those, and just wasting so much money looking for because you get all the other cards, and now you're just looking for just the holograms. And I just remember burning so much money doing that. Yeah.
So during COVID, while people were buying comics, I was buying the comic cards. I got Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, Series 4, DC, Cosmic Teams and Cosmic Cards, and then a couple of other loose. Oh, and Jim Lee X-Men's set. That's what I bought. Everybody was paying high dollars for books. I was like, I'll buy the cards. Yeah.
Yep.
And like
They're
a
worth
dummy,
big
I
money
sold
now.
them.
I
Huh?
mean, people love them.
Yeah, I was never really into the cards. I went straight into the comics, so I never really
Right.
got into the cards. I do have some. I have. You know what I have is the Batman animated series card set. I think I've got a full run of those.
Yeah, I never collected that one.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this a little bit. Like when you go to shops, LCSs or antique stores or anywhere else, the flea markets, I know that's a big part of your channel.
Oh yeah.
What's the process that you go through? Like when you're going to look and you're going to dig, do you focus on condition, or are you looking to fill holes, or are you just looking to window shop?
Wow. Well, it depends what the venue is, obviously. So if it's a flea market, that's a different animal. And I've been going to flea markets my whole life. And we have lots of big ones around here. So if it's a flea market, for me, the process is covering ground as much as possible because they're pretty big, and I'm pretty good out of like my peripheral. I can like home in on comic books. Like I can see what's in someone's tent and tell if they might have comic books based on the stuff I can see. And I'm surprisingly good at it. Whenever I go with people, they're like, "How do you even know those are in there?" I'm like, "I can smell them," you know. So I go and I'm just looking for anything that's a good deal. Yeah, it could just any good deal. It doesn't even have to be something I'm really into. Obviously, if they have tons of comic books, then I'm looking for stuff that I want. But in general, I'm just trying to find good deals, comic books cheap, good value, just because I think they're cool. I'm not looking for anything in particular in those cases, really. If it's like, again, yard sales and things like that, you have no idea. That's a crapshoot, and you kind of have to do your research beforehand. I check constantly on like the Friday night, checking, Facebook, checking local groups to find, anyone who has comic books or collectibles, things like that, estate sales. And I go for the ones that look like they have comic books. Hey, and it never hurts to ask too, guys. Like if you ever with someone who looks like they might have, even if they have like comic related toys, or they look like they go hunting and like they buy storage units and stuff, always ask, hey, do you have comic books? You'd be shocked how many people say yes. Oh yeah, hold on a second. And they pull out this actually true story, 1.5 miles from my house. Someone was having a yard sale and I pulled in and they were giving stuff away. They were moving and they were giving, I got some skis for my wife, just get literally like they're getting rid of books. And I don't know why I asked. There's nothing to indicate it to this woman. I said, hey, by the way, you don't have any comic books, do you? She's like, oh, my husband's really into them. I'm like, well, what kind? It's like, he likes X-Men. I'm like, oh, so she got her husband. He comes out and he's like, oh, you're the X-Men? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, which ones do you have? He's like, I have all of them. I'm like, yeah, but what era? He's like, no, I have all of them. And he's like, come inside. We went in the garage and he had X-Men 1 to 500.
Oh, wow.
And he had them in a 3-ring binder.
Oh.
I've never seen anything like it. And we're just going through the pages. I'm like, how? And
he had punched holes through them.
What was that?
He had punched holes through them.
No.
Oh,
so they were bagged and boarded in a 3-ring binder. So like in the plastic.
Oh,
again, it wasn't the safest way to do it, but yeah, no. Sorry, should have clarified that. And then he had a bunch of long boxes. But it was like the only title he collected. I mean, what are the odds of that? I mean, like I'm an X-Men collector. I just happened to ask, and we exchanged contact information. I told him about the channel. Like that's the crazy stuff that happens. Just ask. You never know. So I don't have a process other than cover ground and do lots of research. Antique store, same thing. I just check them constantly. You might get lucky one time. The same places I got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 at a place I check every week, and it just happened to be in there one week. I got it for $100. You never know. LCSs are different. I have a list on my phone of comic books that I'm collecting. Like that I want. I have like a little Word document, and I kind of go through what I'm looking for. I have my X-Men list, trying to finish my runs, and that I'm far more focused in that regard. And I'm a people person, so I try to chat them up and build a good rapport, and it helps. Yeah. So
yeah,
right on. Sal, you're being awful quiet over there.
I'm just enjoying the show. Now, so your display rack, how do you have that set up? I wonder if it's similar to what I did.
It might be actually. So these, believe it or not, because Lunch Money Comics, everything's got to be cheap, right? I could have just got J channel, right? But instead, I got their vinyl wall panel molding.
Oh, okay.
So almost like if you see like at a drop ceiling, but they're for wall panels. So like actually, you know what you use them for? You ever see like outside the fake like trellises, the plastic siding you put like around a garden? It's those things that hold those pieces together. But they happen to have a groove that's just as wide as a bagged and boarded comic.
Wow.
So it works for raws, not slabs. Gotcha.
Correct.
Right.
So I have the J channel up, and those work perfectly for the slabs.
Right. And you flip them over, right? So you can have each way. Right. You can hold them in there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, it's a terrible setup. Because I can't. You have to slide them out, and because they're bag and board and not in a slab, they're flimsy, and I didn't exactly measure them perfectly, so it's a mess. There's all sorts of little like cardboard shims under there. It's a pain. So we'll have to rethink it at some point and redo it.
All right. Very good.
So going back, you mentioned a few minutes ago how you were talking about like you don't know, people ask you all the time, and I don't know what it is, how I broke the algorithm or everything, and I was, and
Yeah.
that I'm sure that's true. Who knows? The YouTube algorithm is weird, so no one really truly knows.
It is a fickle monster.
Right. So you can do all the right things and you get 100 views, or you can do all the wrong things and all of a sudden you got 10,000 views. You just never know. So, but one of the things that sticks out to me about your channel, and that always has stuck out about your channel, obviously it's clean, it's well, it's well produced. You do a really good job. But you touched on it a second ago, and you said, I think you're super friendly. Right. You come off as very friendly and open and wanting to talk. And I think also people relate to exactly what you said, your way of collecting, where it's not all about buying those $1,000 books or the slabs. And I know you're a big fan of Raw. And I am too. I like the slabs, of course, but I like them both. But for me, my favorite video that you ever put out was actually semi recently, where you found that guy who had all those comic books in his basement, and that you were helping him sort them and go through them, and you were telling him what he had. And then you did another video. It was kind of a follow up or something, where people were commenting, "Boy, you're a better guy than I am. You're things like that," and it bothered you, and that bothered me too. That it's like, I felt what you were saying, because guys, if you haven't, I don't know if you guys have seen that video, Tim or Sal, but
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Basically, he's helping this guy right in this basement. I mean,
you and I talked about this the other day at the shop too.
So I think I won't tell the whole story, but bottom line is people sense that honesty about you. And they sense that. And when you said, this is what struck me, you said, one day my kids might see this video. And I was like, man, he's right. And what if I had, what if you had jerked that guy around, or you had seen that ASM 50, that first appearance of Kingpin, and not said anything, and said, yeah, I mean, this is an okay book. I guess I'll give you $20 for it. The guy probably would have been like, sure. But then later on, that's going to be like, man, that was kind of a, so I think the honesty part of what you do really, really speaks to people. I know it does to me, because I go out and do the collection thing too. And I buy collections, and I go out just like everybody, but, I go out and do the flea markets and all that stuff. I'm always looking for deal yard sales, things like that. And I try to do that as well, and it's bit me in the butt a few times, where I was like, man, and I walk away going, no, that was the right thing to do. Okay, fine. And then other times I've told them kind of what they had, like that Iron Man that was bought in a collection, and I can't remember what she wanted for it. She didn't know anything about comics, and I said, this is a really good one. I said, this is actually worth about what you're asking for all of them. And she goes, oh, that's fine. I just want to get rid of them. I was like, okay, so she even knocked a little bit off. So that was cool. But, and I don't know if it was because I was honest, or if she was just, whatever. But that kind of stuff, I think, sticks out to people, Mike. And that's one of the reasons why I watch your stuff. The moment it drops, I'm watching it, and why you have 10,000 subscribers in a year. I think that's one of the reasons why. So as a member of the comic book community, I appreciate guys like you. For sure.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do appreciate that. Again, people ask me all the time, like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm just being myself. But my first thing I tell people is be genuine, because everyone on the internet is pretending to be something they're not, especially this day and age, right? Especially the kids these days, right? Everyone is just putting on a facade of something they're different. And I said from day one, like, this is how I am. If you can't be yourself, like, then don't do it, right? So I was just trying to be honest. Maybe that's why I come off as friendly, because I'm just I don't care. I'm having fun, right? Just be myself. The honesty part, yeah, I mean, it is because yeah, it's not just your kids, right? But it's like just people in general. I don't want people thinking I'm a jerk. I don't think people are bad for doing that, for getting things cheaper. You have to. In fact, I have a video coming out next week. Very similar story. I found a guy. I gave him more than I should have. I think more than 99% of people would have. Kind of regretted it, and I kind of talk about that in the video. But you hit it on the head. You feel better about yourself. Even if you have some doubts, you walk away. I sleep better at night knowing I'm honest, right? Especially when you're putting yourself out there to the world. Why would you put anything out there other than being fair to people around you? Like,
right.
That's how we should always be with each other. And why would you want to project anything to the world that is anything but that? So yeah, just be yourself, be kind to everyone, and that's it, man. There's no magic to it. There's no mystery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, see, and that's what we like to do here is you've got a bunch of guys that are friends. We've met through Comic Character of the Day. We're across the country, but we're genuine, we're real, we're honest, and most of all, we love and have super passion for comic books.
Gravitate to that. Well, for me, honestly, that's why I kind of get bothered by however the algorithm works. I have plenty of friends and channels that I watch that they're doing nothing different than me, and they're just a very approachable people, great screen presence, and it doesn't make any sense, and it kills me because you have no idea how it works. But I think those are the channels that do better. Those are the ones that have more success, the people that you can relate to. I mean, that's true in anything. If you can relate to the person you're watching, you're going to want to watch them. If you can't relate to that person, you're not going to. So I see lots of guys just like you guys, very, very approachable. Makes you feel good just to listen to them talk. So I think that's what people are looking for, and I think there's a lot of us out there doing that. So
I love listening to Sal talk. That's for sure.
You love listening to yourself talk.
Well, I mean that is also true. I stare at myself in the mirror every morning before I go out.
You brush the hair this way, then you brush the hair that way.
Ladies and gentlemen. For Mike's fans that are watching this video, this is real, this is natural, and it is better taken care of than most of you do your dogs. So there you go. Use conditioner on the base, not up at the top.
Mike, just settle in. This is going to be a minute. He's going to talk about his hair now. Just
all right. True story, completely random. I live in my hat. I wear a baseball cap like my entire life. I probably sleep in one. The only time I take it off is when I do YouTube. I don't know why. I don't know what that is. It's just hat all the time. And that's why I'm always so picky. I'm like, that's how I look like without a hat on? I don't even know.
So let's talk about slabs for a little bit.
My wife yelled at me because she couldn't see my face. It's always like this and dark. So she's like, you can't put a hat on. I'm like, okay.
Well,
I do what I'm told.
Let's talk about slabs for a little bit. Sal, why don't you go ahead and give a rundown of like your collection versus Mike, what you like to do as far as slabs or purchasing, or when you send books to Jeff to get those slabs.
Sure.
All right. So yeah, I got into the slabs most primarily because I like to display them. I love the artwork so much that I feel like they need to be displayed. Putting them in a box and hiding them in a corner somewhere, I don't know, rubs me wrong sometimes. And I've got about almost 13,000 books in my collection, and I almost got 300 slabs now. And I just love like you, I'm like searching places. There's lots of Facebook pages that people sell slabs on, and sometimes very cheap. We're talking less than $30 for a slab book. Now, the book may not be a key, it may not be the greatest condition book, but it was still a great book to display. Is one of my taglines in my videos. This is a great book to display, and that's why I had to set this up. And you're only seeing half the room; the other half is hockey stuff. And so this is the only place I really have to display my comic books, which is you got about maybe like 5 times more space than I do, but that's besides the point. But then I just like putting them up, and I like certain artists when they start drawing, and I collect them, and if I can get them signed, hey, all the better. And if I can get them, if I don't get them signed, I'm not too worried about it either. So as you can see, I've got many blue and yellow labels up there. So I just started doing that, and like you, I start searching for those particular sales that where I can catch them really cheap.
So, Mike, what about you? As far as slabs go, do you look for specific things, or are you looking for a lower cost and books that you send to Jeff
Yeah,
specifically?
I have a this is a complicated answer for me. Anyone who watched my channel would know, like, I always say I'm not really into slabs, and you can see some back here.
Yeah.
But it's more complicated than that. So let's say I'll say it in the meanest terms. I feel like when a book is slabbed, the function of the thing is no longer there. It's not a comic book anymore. It's a picture,
It's a,
right?
yeah.
It's like collecting cars, but taking the engines out. It's not really a car. It's a model of a car. But if the cover is great and the thing that makes the comic book iconic or important is on the cover, I think it's fine, right? Or if it's really expensive and it needs to be encapsulated for preservation purposes, or it's a legacy comic to hand it down to your kids or something like that, where the value will be but. There's always a reason where I can find, yes, it is
Yeah.
acceptable. So I don't dislike them. I just tend to prefer them raw because I enjoy having the comic book. That being said, because I have those exceptions to the rule, if it's a great cover, someone's signing everything you just said, Sal. If someone's signing, it's a great cover. The iconicness of that comic book is preservation. I get it at a good price. Then of course I'll get one. So yeah, and it's funny. I guess we can talk about it later. But I think I'm submitting comic books to CGC tomorrow for my second ever submission. And the books I'm sending
One
are
of us.
gigantic, and I'm on the fence about a couple. So I'd love your opinions, guys. Actually,
Can we get a sneak peek before a video drops?
I'll do it right now if you want. Do you want me to do it now or
Hulk
wait?
181, Hulk 181.
You
Anybody?
know what? Why would you think that? Well, let me answer the Jeff
Because
question.
I lost my mind when you got that book. I was like,
Yeah,
you got
me too.
it.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think all the oxygen left my lungs when I saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to, right? And I just started getting the giggles because how else do you react, right? I just started laughing.
Right.
I was just going to trash my whole collection when you picked that. I was like, I don't even want my stuff anymore.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
I am done. Let's throw it all in the trash.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Mike, give us a peek of what you got going on.
Sure. So Jeff cleans and presses all of my my comic books, and a lot of times I don't even want to necessarily grade them. It's a preservation thing, right? He makes them better. If I can find a comic book really cheap because it's beat up, he's a wizard, so he can make it look better, and I just enjoy having it in my collection at a higher grade. That being said, I do not grade a book unless he works on it first. So I have
Agreed.
without a doubt, right?
Yeah.
I have two different submissions. Let's just start with the big one. Let's start with it. Wes, you said it. Yeah, there it is.
Oh God.
So this book, for that video, which got a lot of people saw it. A neighbor of mine I met him at one of my earliest videos. I bought stuff at a yard sale. We built up a great rapport. I bought a lot of comic books from him, but he said he had thousands more in his basement. So a year later, finally, I got over there to help him go through this. He had no concept of what was down there. And I'm going through his stuff, and it's getting better and better. I was hitting the 70s Hulk. I'm like, he's going to have it. He's going to have it. I know it's coming. It was in a photo box, this loose, no bagger box thing there. I just couldn't believe it. And I was on it. I told him exactly what it was worth. He thought I was joking. I wish I filmed his face because he thought I was kidding. So yeah, because I've been helping him, and we're actually going to be selling at a comic book show I think the end of November. That was what we came up with. I wasn't going to buy the collection from him.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so I'm going to help him sell as much as he can, knowing we'll sell as much as we can. And at the end of the show, I'm sure some of the other dealers are going to try to buy everything, but trying to get him the most possible. So this book here, it was in a pretty rough shape. It's lots of color breaking creases. The spine's kind of a mess, but Jeff did his magic. He dry cleaned it. He buffed it. He pressed it. He pressed it a couple times.
Aqueous bath.
He didn't do an aqueous bath. I asked him not to. Not that I didn't trust him. He said the colors were so good on this. And there is like highlighter. You can't really see it. There's some yellow on the trade dress and a little bit on the back. And it wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? So it was clean enough and bright enough for like an aqueous bath doesn't help. And we're not going to take the staples apart. So this was just buff it, make sure there's no dirt, and press it. And that's it.
Does it have the value stamp in it?
Yeah, absolutely does. Yeah.
Oh.
So I think when I got it, it was probably a 4. It's probably I'm hoping a 4.5. I think is fair.
Yeah.
Jeff thinks it's a 5.0. He always wants it to be higher. Now, I want to say it is expensive. Obviously, we're at unlimited value, so it costs a lot of money to send this in. So I want to send other things in with it. This falls under several of those caveats I have for okay to slab. One, the significance of the book is right on the cover. Amazing cover. There is Wolverine. There he is. First appearance Wolverine, no doubt. And this is a legacy comic book. This is one I'm going to have forever. I'm going to pass it down to my kids someday, or when I'm retired. Who knows what's going to happen?
That
I
is
want
a
it for a
book
long
that
time.
will only go up.
That is true.
Right. So that one's going, but because it's unlimited value, I want to group something else with it. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but I have a really strange book to show you. Hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Doctor Strange?
No.
Oh.
Oh,
I did see that video with the Archie.
So this is nuts. So I got this at an estate sale along with a whole bunch of other DC Golden Age stuff. See that Superman back there? It was $5. I got it because I'd never seen it before. I've never seen an Archie like this. And I asked the internet what it was. And I eventually got a lot of people contacting me. It is an Archie fan club magazine given out in shoe stores as a promotion in the 40s. It's from December 1949.
Jeez.
wow.
And no one has ever seen a copy of
crazy.
this ever go to sale. If this got graded, it's going to be the only one on the census. And it was perfect when I got it. This one color-breaking thing. And Jeff pressed it, and he's like, dude, it's like a 9+.
Oh,
So,
wow.
It's a 9+. So I've had a lot of people contact me about this one. It's not a book I care about. I mean, I do care, but not one I want for my own personal collection.
Out the door it goes.
Exactly. But my dilemma has always been, do I find the right person who wants it raw? Do I grade it? I'm probably going to put it in the unlimited just so I can get it back quicker with the Hulk 181. So I don't know. But it's such a
you grade that.
book.
Yeah.
You can't price it. It's the only one in the world. I have no idea what it's worth. So.
Wow.
They'll tell you when they start offering you money for it.
I wonder if that's something that should be like on a heritage auction or something,
Well, then there's that whole thing, like your fees and all that stuff, and trying to get to the it could be a whole other thing. So
true.
Wow.
And the other ones, I'll go through them quick. I have a Silver Age group of books that, again, this is one where I kind of want your opinions on, right? So let's talk about the obvious ones. So I got this one first, Silver Age Spectre. I already have a low grade copy. I got this as a CBCS 7.5. I have the label around here somewhere. I don't know where it went. Yes, a 7.5. I looked at it and I'm like, oh, Jeff can fix that. Jeff cracked it open, and we're hoping for a CGC 8.0. So
that would be amazing.
It's
that's a killer book.
If you can increase the grade from a CBCS.
And I hear they have pretty strict grading. I mean, for both of us, we're looking at it, we're like, I don't see it. Like, how is it a 7.5? So there's not much wrong with it. It looks pretty awesome. So
nice.
That one's definitely going. This one's also going. Jeff got this and cleaned it and pressed it himself, and then he sold it to me. This one did do an aqueous bath. When it was at the local comic store, came in a collection of everything was all roached out, water damaged.
Oh wow.
I don't know what voodoo magic he did to this book.
That man has a ritual and candles and spell casting and bat guano
blood
and
sacrifices. I don't know what he did, but this thing is crazy. So I'm going to send this in just to see how good he is. That's what it is. The last one I'm having dilemmas on.
Popping on that.
What was that?
The purple on that was popping.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's because he buffs it. He buffs it with a wool sock. I don't know if you guys. I'm sure Wes.
Wow.
It's a wool sock, no additives or anything like that, and it just brings out, especially the ones from the 70s, especially Silver Age, and especially bronze. So you start buffing them, that gloss comes out of the cover, and they look incredible. So
that's great.
Last two I have dilemmas on. This one. He's gonna have a dilemma. This is a book I think it falls in my category. It's perfect to grade. He's right there on the cover. Black Panther. It's one I want for my whole life, but it's very low grade. It's probably, if I'm lucky, a 4 or 5 maybe. Has lots of color breaks on it. So
4 is still pretty solid for a first Black Panther.
Yeah.
That's a solid grade for a
that's still a sizable book.
65-year-old
comic book, almost or whatever it is now. 60, whatever it is.
Jeff did clean it. There was like speckles of something on it, like especially on the moon, and he was able to get them off with just like dry cleaning. So I mean it's a pretty cool book. But the reason I was on the fence, you see the CGC forums thought it was a 4 to a 5, anywhere in there, right?
Yeah.
But again, I just like it. I like it. I did open this one up, kind of perused it. I kind of like that feeling of having, I don't know.
Sal knows about that.
Yeah. And the last one, out of the same collection as the Hulk 181 in my follow-up video.
There it is. I was wondering if you're going to pull that one up. Yep.
This one's a tough one for me because this one's pretty low grade. It's probably a 3, right? It's got some tears on it, lots of color breaks, but I love this comic book.
Yeah, that's an amazing cover.
Jeff cleaned the bucket, man, and the red. You guys can't even tell. The red is just awesome. I mean, you can't see Kingpin, but that's okay because the book by itself, the Romita art, is worth the price of admission. So,
well, all right, Sal, Wes, raise of hands. Hold up the Black Panther first. Who wants the Black Panther to go? Raise your hand.
100%.
100%. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also cheap. That's the other reason.
So yeah, and that's the thing,
Well,
right?
I'm not gonna pay
You know,
for it. You know, how much does
so,
it actually
yeah.
raise the value of the book over
Yeah.
like that sort of thing?
Now, what
Yeah.
about the Amazing 50?
I
Sal's the only one.
think I would. I'm like 80% yes on that one. I know it's in rough shape, but for me,
Yeah.
when it comes to that, those are
Yeah.
two very major characters. Major. It's not
Yeah.
like it's the first appearance of,
Right.
I don't know,
Spider Boy.
Yeah, Spider Boy or something. That is
Or the
that
kangaroo.
dude. Yeah, right. Those are those are the big boys. So even if it did come back a 3.5 or a 4, who cares?
Okay, I changed
yeah,
my answer.
yeah.
The
For
Amazing
me, that's a
50.
big time guy. That would be equivalent of like a first appearance of like, Green Goblin or something like that. It's like, no, that's one of his biggest villains.
And
You
this is my
got it.
favorite Amazing Spider-Man comic book.
Oh, well, then
Then
absolutely.
that, yeah.
But that's kind of why I don't want to grade it because I like the fact I can.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be struggling for this, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
I
but
have all the
I get
cards.
it. I get that. Yeah.
that's a good struggle to have, though. First Black Panther, first
Yeah,
Kingpin.
first world problems, guys. First
But
world
how
problems.
mad?
That's
How
right.
mad at your? See that this is going to sound stupid, but how mad would you be if you're thumbing through it one day because you kept it raw and you ripped a page?
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, you want to be able to thumb through it. So it's
Wes,
yeah. I get. I don't know.
if that
That's hard.
happened,
That's hard.
if
hard.
that happened, he would just give it to Jeff. Jeff
Right.
would fix it, and the rip would
And then
never
Jeff
be
would
made.
mail it to
blood
me. Yeah, I know.
sacrifice to his dark god.
I wonder if
Whatever he
Jeff
does.
has that time stone that he just turns back the time
Right,
on
yeah.
the comic book. You know?
So I guess my
never-
dilemma is when I look at I have it in the CGC cart, right? I got my 150 credit, whatever I have, but it's a lot of money, and I'm looking at the
It's a
money and
lot.
I'm thinking I could get a pretty nice comic book for that. That's my dilemma always. I can just keep them raw. I don't have to send them. I don't have to stress about it. I don't have to pay insurance. I'm just more, I guess, laziness more than anything. I can't tell. Maybe it is laziness. I don't know. It's just the stress of the whole thing. It's a thing to do, and I don't have time to do. So,
I guess we'll find out when the video comes out.
I'm gonna do them all at once. So I'll do a pre before. I'll send them, and then I'll wait however long. Obviously, the unlimited I'll get back quickly, and then I'll put it in one video so everyone gets to see the before. And I actually have pictures from Jeff of what he worked on. So I'll put up the before and the after.
Nice.
So
That's good.
Go ahead, Sal.
I was going to say, so for books like that, I would definitely slab even no matter the grade, just because, like Wes said, the uniqueness or the major key of the book. And as much as I like flipping through a comic book and reading the story, I can always get a reprint, of that story and still be able to read the story and enjoy it while still having that one protected.
Get them in showcase some.
Yeah, like something like that. That's how I kind of feel about it. I mean, it's up to you. I do like the old comic books. When I get an old comic book in the mail from a mail call, I usually open up and I'm like,
I love that smell.
Yeah, exactly.
You smell the shop right there.
There's something very pure about that.
Very true. Very true.
I got a first Scorpion this weekend, and it stinks. Like, not a good smell.
Like a smoker's house or something?
Yeah, like the mustiness, but way worse. I don't know what it is. So
okay, that one get cleaned.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of old books, Sal, you have a stack of books. Mike, you did a challenge not too long ago, a couple days ago. Well, when this video releases, it'll have been over a week. But give a little bit of a rundown as to what that challenge was, Mike, and then Sal, go ahead and show those books.
Sure. So it was
sure.
So it originally came from Alan, the comic collector geek. He's got a YouTube channel. He's a guy up in Ottawa, Canada, who has one of the most incredible comic collections I've ever seen. He is an expert on Golden Age books, but he wanted to do a community tag video, and he called out Bronze Age books. Now, Bronze Age, it's kind of debatable what that is. In general, it's 1970 to like 1984, 1985. I consider it personally Secret Wars and Crisis is sort of the end, right? Or the beginning of the...
That's very fair.
Modern.
Yeah.
But he put the hashtag 70s covers. So I tried sticking with the 70s, but it can be anything Bronze Age. It could be any books, your favorite in your collection, the most valuable, just the best covers, whatever you want to show off for your top 10 favorite Bronze Age comic books.
All right, Sal, what do you got there, bud?
Okay, well, I just realized that this one was not 70s. This one was actually 68. So I got to take this one off the list. So
Show it anyways.
Show it anyways.
show it anyways. This is Captain America number 108.
Hold fast there, big guy.
Okay, I'm holding.
There you go.
Ooh, there it is.
And a
And it's a
9.0 too.
9.0. Yeah.
Let me
This was
pick my jaw up. That is amazing.
But this was 1968. Yeah, December of 1968. So
Sounds like whatever. It's not important.
it's not part of the challenge. You know, it's got to be part of the challenge.
I have
There was a
one of those that's
challenge
probably a
stated.
1.0 that I got at a flea market.
All right, so I'm gonna save this guy for last because that's, you know. All right, so then I got this one at
Ooh.
as
Oh, yeah.
X-Men number 195 at a 5.0. It's just
Wow.
I love the cover. I love the battle action covers.
Awesome.
So that one's always a standout for me. Okay. What year was this one? Yep, this was it. All right, so I have the third appearance of Wolverine.
Mhm.
Technically the second, if you really ask me, but you know,
Wow.
it's a third appearance. So all right, so this one I really love. Yes, this one came out in 1971. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 97. There it is.
Oh.
Now, this was the drug issue. If you notice, there's no comic code stamp
Right.
on
Yep.
these because this
Well,
was
there
part of
there were a couple that didn't have.
there
the
were
same
three of
graph.
those.
Yeah,
There was three. It was a series of three. So that was one of them.
where Stan Lee said, "Do it anyways."
Do it anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So I have this one, Iron Man 128, Demon in a Bottle, because this is just
Oh,
a
yeah.
I got that one raw. Nice.
iconic cover. The story is just fantastic.
Well, see, like that whole story was just supposed to be the villain of the week, and they were going
Right.
to move on, and it turned into
Hmm.
an integral part of his character.
Right. It did. It did. And then, of course, like you, I got an X-Men
Oh.
one.
Very cool.
So and I
Very nice.
I did not crack this for Chris Claremont's signature. I was too scared to crack it. I cracked some other ones.
I
So
had Jeff do it. I said, I don't want to see you do it. Just do it somewhere else. He's like, let's do it right now. I'm like, no, bring it home.
Nope.
Yeah.
Ah. If Tim, if you edit the video, Dan and I actually broke some slabs that night before Baltimore Comic Con.
Oh man.
So that's on there. So this is my other one that's a classic cover.
Oh, nice. I like that. Yeah.
That's a perfect one for the list because a lot of people consider that to be the first, one of the first books that started the Bronze Age.
Ooh.
Where
Mhm.
the stories got more
What year
adult.
is that?
This is 1970. Came out in
70.
April of 70.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, people often cite that book as well as the death
So-
of Gwen Stacy as the beginning of the Bronze Age.
Yep, I got this as a PGX slab, and the PGX slab was a 7.0.
Yes, about right.
So, and last but not least, this is, I think, probably my favorite, and this is Amazing Spider-Man number 151.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
There is it. There it is.
Right there.
But I have it signed by Stan
Stan
Lee
Lee,
and John Romita.
Oh,
Romita.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
it's pretty awesome.
that is an iconic cover.
It is.
Well, not to be left out, I have one
Wait.
book from the 70s. Oh, you got one, Sal?
I
You got one more?
got two more,
Oh,
and they're the
okay.
treasury size editions books,
Oh.
not slabbed.
Awesome.
This one and this one.
But now through CBCS, you can slab those.
I could.
That's
could.
right.
All right,
Well,
go ahead, Tim.
I got one, and I got it from Wes. So
Oh,
I'm going to
Oh, is
show
that
this
that
one.
Hulk? Yeah.
Yes, this is Incredible Hulk number 125 from March 1970, and it's a CGC 6.5.
ooh, the wrecker.
Absorbing
Absorbing
Man.
Man.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry. Yep,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, so that's the only one I have on hand.
Are they in
at the
space on
moment.
that cover? Hold on, where are they in that cover?
They are on top of a rocket.
That's
And
always a
are
good.
they
That's
in
always a
space?
good place to fight.
They are not in outer space. It's just nighttime because you can see the city and all that stuff down below.
The curvature
Oh,
of the
okay, I
earth.
got you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Safe to say they're pretty high up there.
Yeah, they're up there a little bit. Yeah,
Very
so
good, Tim.
Yeah,
Love it.
Very nice.
that was a
There's
book that-
there's my only bronze one right there that I
This
have
is-
handy.
bring it down.
All right.
So Tim, where'd you pick up that that Hulk one?
From the man standing.
Just from
Now
West got it to
sitting.
you? Okay.
Yeah. He had it in a box of slabs he was selling, didn't want nothing to do with them, and I picked that one out. I was
Gotcha.
like, I'll buy that.
I'll give you $1 for it.
I'll give you
This
a
is the
buck.
only one that I have. I didn't know we were going to do this, so this is the only one I have nearby. I've shown this a few times on the show, but I'm
It's no
very,
big
very
deal.
proud of it. Mr.
Oh, yeah,
American
yeah.
#1 from 1971, March of 71, 8.5. I got this, Mike. I got this in the same collection I got that Iron Man in. So I got a great deal on it, and they were not slabbed. I sent them in, but I couldn't be happier with the condition of it. It's just a beautiful.
Tell the rest of the story. When you got that, he showed up at my house, picked me up, and said, "Look at this book. It has to be a reprint."
Yeah, it was because it's so shiny, and there was like very. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the corners aren't blunted at all. I was like,
No.
I was like, this looks like a reprint. So
We were driving to the comic store,
and then
to,
I thumbed through it. I'm like,
Yeah.
son of, I hadn't really looked closely at that point. I was too excited. I had with the Iron Man look close, but this one I had not. And lo and behold, it's. I know it's hard to tell on the video, but it is or on Restream here, but it is a beautiful book. I'm very proud
it's
of it.
gorgeous.
I'll never sell it, and yeah, but that's the only bronze one I've got anywhere near that's worth showing. So yeah.
Still good. Still a good book.
Yeah.
All right.
And I regret
Very
not sending that one or the other one. I did not send that to Jeff because I had never sent. At the point that I had sent them in, it was like literally the week later is when I met Jeff, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it.
Well,
I had
Sal,
gotten impressed by a local guy, but I wished I had gotten it done by.
Wes, what books does Jeff have of ours right now?
It's hard to remember. He's had them for a while. I know he's going to crack a case. He is going to crack a PGX. Oh, that Joker one.
Mm-hmm.
That Joker #1's in a PGX. He's going to crack that one and clean it and do everything to it. That one's more of like a test for the show. There's not a lot of value there. And by the time I spend money with him, what I spent on the book itself, and then send it in to get CG, that's more of something to show on the show. Like this is what happened with. This is what it was. I've got a Lady Death. It's like that leather bound edition.
Is it this one? But the leather edition?
But it's like the leather. It looks like it's
Right.
leather. I mean, gosh, I can't even remember. It's been over
My
a month
Secret
now.
Wars #8.
Secret Wars
is there.
8. Yeah. Secret Wars 8.
X-Men #1 with the Magneto
Yeah, it was
cover,
the
newsstand,
Yeah.
and then Futurama #1.
There you go, Future. That's right. And I know I've got like 2 or 3 more, but now I forget because I've got books everywhere. So, golly. Anyways, but yeah, so looking forward to getting those back. He actually emailed me, Tim, a couple days ago and said we're 10 from the top, or 10 from the. There's
We're
10
getting it.
customers ahead of us, and I said thanks. But yeah.
I've been the guy that usually does not send in books to be pressed.
Yeah,
or
you send
cleaned.
them in all natural, man.
I'm like
you
rolling the dice, baby. Just throw it in there and see what happens. But I do want to send some to Jeff and see what happens.
Yeah,
Definitely.
For
I
sure.
mean, Mike, you definitely can attest to that. Wes and I have seen his magic in action. Had him on the show too. So yeah, 110%. But gentlemen, we are getting close to the hour mark. So let's go ahead and bring this awesome conversation to a close. Before we do that, Mike, once again, let everybody know who you are, where they can find you, and any advice you might have for aspiring YouTubers.
Wow. Well, I'm Mike. I in Lunch Money Comics is my YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram, Lunch Money Comics IG. And I kind of alluded to it earlier. I think it's really simple. If you want to put yourself out there on the internet, it is a little bit of a leap of faith to put yourself out there for the whole world to see and hear your opinions. And, you have to have kind of thick skin at times. But the important part is you have to just be yourself. Be genuine all the time in your interactions in everyday life. But if you think you have something worth saying, tell the world, speak it out there, give it your all, but make sure you're yourself more than anything else. It's the only person you should ever try to be.
There you go. Wise
Very
words,
wise.
ladies and gentlemen.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right. Before we get out of here, Wes, what do you do when you're not doing Codex stuff?
Chase my kids around the house and get eye rolls from my wife.
We're all
read
dads
comic
here,
books.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We all got kids.
All right.
Yep.
No.
All right. Well, why don't you go ahead and plug the website for everybody?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. Well, everybody, hey, please follow us or find us at www.thecodexstation.com for all your nerd needs.
Yeah, that stuff.
Merch,
Merch,
meet the
merch,
team.
and so much
You
more.
can't put me on the spot like that, Sean. I'm not good at this.
There we go. Sal, what about you, buddy? What do you do when you're not doing Codex stuff?
Okay, you can always find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner, and occasionally I'm on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77.
Fantastic. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to find us on all the socials. All you got to do is type in at the Codex Station, and that is where we will be, your favorite social media platforms, and where we live stream all the time, every time. Once again, at the Codex Station, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss anything from us. But definitely make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, and follow for Mike so you don't miss anything that he puts out on a regular basis. Once again,
Definitely.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been a joy. It has been a pleasure. And I hope that you want to come back and hang out with us some more.
Thanks, Mike.
Anytime. I love coming on and talking with like-minded, good people.
Fantastic.
Anytime.
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim the Terrible. This guy is Sal the Slab Guy. Over on that side is Wes Rebel Scum. Down below is Mike from Lunch Money Comics. This has been a Codex special presentation. We will see you next time.